Are you ready to talk about a hot air balloon thriller? Let's talk about Turbulence. Hey everybody, it's David Stark from Watcher Past. I'm here to talk about Turbulence, which comes to theaters and VOD and digital on December 12th, 2025. This is my balloon-ish thing. Closest thing I had to a balloon, so I used it for the video. But it is a new hot air balloon thriller about a lovely, lovely romantic ride that turns a little sinister. So, should you watch this movie? Is this movie worth your time? My hot take is I think you should pass on it. I thought it was an interesting effort with some beautiful scenery, but it's overall just a hot air balloon thriller that doesn't really have many thrills and also has an ending that lets a lot of that hot air out. But all that being said, I'm going to tell you about the film, a few things I liked, a few things I didn't like, and then really quickly go into a recap. So as you can imagine, there'll be spoilers in the recap section. If you don't know what happens in this movie, I would turn it off when I get to the recap. Before that, though, I'll keep it vague. I'll keep it spoiler free. Let's try to get to those spoilers. So, in Turbulence, you have Zach and Emmy. They're on a romantic retreat to rekindle their relationship. They've had some childbearing problems in the past, and so they're kind of in a funk, and so they are trying to remake everything. But all that turns sinister when a stranger enters this ride, and that causes a whole lot of turbulence in both the weather and in their relationship. So, things I liked about this movie. The first, beautiful scenery. I mean, I think it's some of it is probably not CG. There's probably a lot of CG here, but it is beautiful. You got a hot air balloon. You got the beautiful landscapes, the sky, the mountains. It has some very very lovely scenery, some very idyllic scenery before it turns deadly. Second thing I loved, decent effects. I mean, it's CG. There's only so much they can do, but I think they did a pretty decent job of the effects. They look good. They're not too distracting. It's a heavy order for an indie film in a hot air balloon. So hats off for the effects. And also I think it's, third thing, I think it's a smart indie film. You limit the places you can go, you limit the cast. It's a smart concept for this overall movie. So all that being said, things I didn't love as much. The first, I kind of mentioned it, it's not very thrilling. It's not a super thrilling thriller. There's just not a ton of excitement you can get in this limited space in this specific scenario. Or maybe I just wasn't in the right mood. I just didn't feel much tension, didn't feel many thrills. Also, some of the characters I didn't really care about. So that's probably part of it. Second thing I didn't love, it's a little slow. Like, with there not being thrills, there's a lot of aspects of this film that are fairly slow. It feels a little drawn out. It's 96 minutes. It's not a long film. It feels pretty long. Third thing I didn't love as much, character changes. Some characters have some pretty quick turns, pretty quickly. It helps to move the story along, I guess, but there's one specific one that was just like, didn't feel right. And the last thing I didn't love the ending. I didn't think the ending was, it kind of wraps everything up, but again, it kind of deals with some of those character turns. So, all that being said, Turbulence comes to theaters on December 12th, 2025. Comes to theaters VOD and digital. I think you should pass on it, but if you do see it, let me know what you think. Let me know what you liked and didn't like. I'd love to hear it. Really quickly, going to go into a recap right now. So if you don't know what happens in this movie, I would turn it off now because there will be spoilers. So, again, in Turbulence, you have Zach and Emmy. They are going on a romantic balloon ride because they're having some marital troubles. They've been trying to conceive. They've been having issues, and that has affected Emmy and Zach's relationship, Emmy's mood specifically. And so they're trying to kind of re-get that spark. But the night before, Zach is at a hotel. He's on a work trip. Emmy's going to join him the next day, and he's at the hotel. He goes to the bar. He meets Julia. They flirt a little bit. It seems like maybe things might happen, but we don't see that. Then the next day, uh, Emmy and Zach go for this balloon ride. It's supposed to be just them in this romantic endeavor. But wouldn't you know it, Julia shows up and she wants to ride as well. It's a little strange. Zach pretends like he doesn't know her. They get up in the air. And when they're up in the air, Julia starts to expose what happened. She wants, she wants Zach to tell Emmy about how they met, how they were at the bar, how he bought her a drink, all that. Zach tries to deny it, and then eventually he kind of like, oh yeah, we had a drink, whatever, no big deal. Julia is also trying to blackmail Zach. I guess we don't know if something happened, but she is trying to get 500,000 euros for her silence. Zach is a wealthy person. He's the head of a very, very important company, so he has a lot of money. This is a drop in the bucket. Zach doesn't want to pay her. So Julia's trying to get this money. Zach is denying it. They're up in this hot air balloon. Eventually, Julia gets more and more aggressive, and she tries to force Zach to pay. Eventually, we find out that Julia has a connection with Zach that we didn't know about. Julia's father, it's the very first scene in the movie. Zach has to, Zach is taking over a company. He has to cut some staff in order to save the company. And one of the people that's cut is this person that has been working there for a very long time. He is distraught over being cut. He ends up pulling a gun on Zach, doesn't kill Zach, but shoots himself, and that's how this movie started. And then that after that, Zach, finished his work trip, went to this hotel, had a pretty terrible day. That was kind of the impetus for him and Julia talking, and then maybe something else happening. So we find out that this person who killed himself was Julia's dad, and so she has a personal vendetta against Zach because of what happened. And so she wanted to blackmail him, but also, I guess, kind of like destroy his life because of this. Zach is still denying it. Zach is still not playing games. And so eventually Julia takes like a bar or a hook and starts like swinging it around. She hits some gas and it starts going up and then bursts into flames. Everyone seems fine except Julia. Julia gets burned. She goes, ah! But everyone else seems okay. No one else seems to get burned. The balloon doesn't get burned. The basket doesn't get burned. Just Julia. She's in on fire. And eventually they put it out, and she is very, very much hurt. Now, that is one of their problems. The other problem is that they are going up and up and up, and they can't open the vent at the top of the balloon to let hot air out, and they are losing oxygen. So the balloon operator named Harry goes up to try to pull the cord. The cord was burned, so that he has to like reach up really high to get it. He's trying to pull, and he almost has it. And that's when Julia, who was like on the ground, burned, goes like, no, and like pushes Harry off of the balloon. He falls down, plummets to his death, splat. Weird. She had the energy to do that. Also weird that she would want to like put all of their lives in danger, but I guess maybe she wants to just go down in a ball of fire with everyone. And then she's like, "Oh, that was an accident." And they're like, "No, it wasn't. Like you pushed him off. What are you talking about?" Now Zach wants to tie her up. He ties her up. He like gags her mouth, but Emmy and him have to figure out what to do. And so Emmy climbs up. She is able to grab the pull string, dangerously as they're losing oxygen. Zach eventually passes out because of the oxygen, but Emmy's able to do it. She gets the pull string. They start to lower, and everything seems okay. But later, Julia, who I guess was tied up, and then they untied her, pulls a knife and stabs Zach. Emmy doesn't want her to stab her, so she's like talking her down. She's telling her to put the knife down. And when she's about to put the knife down, bonk! Zach hits her with a helium canister, hydrogen canister, or something, crushes her face. Julia's dead. And he's like, "Why'd you do that?" And he's like, "Well, she was gonna hurt you. She had a knife." And she's like, "She almost had the knife down." And Zach's like, "Well, have to be safe." We kind of start to think we know why. Zach just wanted to quiet her up, didn't want any of this exposure. But I think this kind of like puts some doubt in Emmy's head. So they have a few more obstacles to overcome. They have, a mountain that they have to navigate around. They have to get out of this mountain range or some bad weather. But Emmy also, I think, starts to have some doubts. She starts to have some second thoughts on what Zach said. So eventually she starts asking about specific details. Like, how did she know about your tattoo? She asked us earlier, and Zach's like, oh, it must be a social media post that showed about my tattoo. It's like on his like rib or his ab area. So explain that away. And then she's like, how'd you know about your socks? Because she said specific things about his socks. And she's like, oh, I must have taken my shoes off at the bar. And like, that's weird. Why would you take your shoes off at a hotel bar? Eventually, she's like, oh, let me look at her phone. Maybe we'll see. And Zach secretly pushes her phone out of the balloon. There's a hole that develops in the basket, so there's a nice convenient way for Zach to push her phone out. Now, eventually, Emmy's like, let me see your phone. So that's like, fine, fine, fine. And he gives her his phone. She looks in the deleted messages. She sees the conversation where Julia's trying to blackmail her. And then there's a video at the end, and we see the video, and we see the video is Zach there. He is showering, and then he and Julia hook up. So there's the proof. There it was. Emmy is upset about this, and Zach kind of does a 180 here. He's like, well, what'd you expect? Like, you've been so mopey recently, and you're not giving me any. So, like, what am I supposed to do? And there's a very quick character turn. Like, even when he was at the bar, he was projecting, like, oh, like, I love my wife. I don't want to do anything. And throughout this, he was, like, trying to be nice to Emmy, trying to, like, save the marriage. And now all of a sudden, she finds the proof, and he's like, boom, it's all your fault. What did you expect? And Emmy's like, I don't even know you. Like, I'm gonna get a divorce. And he's like, ha, you can't afford a divorce. You can't do anything. You're gonna get nothing. My lawyers are gonna burn you dry. And during this argument, they get in a little more heated argument, and Emmy pushes Zach because she's angry. And Zach falls and falls through that hole and is holding on to some sort of rope. And he's like, Emmy, help me, Emmy, help me, I need your help. And Emmy doesn't want to. So she pushes Julia's body that has been sitting there out the hole. And Julia's body falls down the hole, hits Zach. They both fall. They both are dead. You're like, okay, maybe the pushing would be like manslaughter, maybe second degree. The pushing of the body probably moves into first degree. So not good for Emmy. But she could play it off like, oh, I'm a grieving widow. This horrible accident happened. But then she takes off her ring and throws it off. And I'm like, Emmy, you need to play this role. You need to be the grieving widow so you get all the money and like no one suspects you. Don't throw your ring away. That is a little suspicious. She does it anyways. She then lands the balloon, sets the balloon on fire, so all the evidence goes away. But I don't know how she's going to explain how she doesn't have a ring, but I guess it's just her word against three dead bodies that are scattered throughout the mountains, and she walks away, presumably to a better life. We will see. But that's the end of Turbulence. Like I said, I think you should pass on it. It just didn't really have the thrills. Smart indie movie, and also kind of smart way to get Kelsey Grammer in there, but then cut him out really quickly because Julia went and pushed him out. So overall, smart movie, decent effects, decent, beautiful scenery, but I just didn't have the thrills I was hoping for, and I didn't really love the ending. So I think you should pass on it. But if you do see it, let me know what you think. Let me know what you liked and didn't like. I'd love to hear it. And thanks so much for watching. If you like this review, please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps me out a lot. Make sure all my new content goes straight to you. Thank you.